Boss bitch, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Terry Smooth. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And we're going to talk about how to fulfill a void. That's right, how to fulfill a void. Because in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, there is no such thing as a void. But this is what you need to understand. It is just a space that no other spirits, aka smaller spaces, is in at the moment. So when we look at an overall space, an overall spirit, when you're in the lower realm of reality, and then as your smaller spirit go within that larger space, it plays out to you as being absorbed into that energy signature or absorbed into that spiritual vortex, and it plays out into your life as a circumstance or a situation. So you need to know what's going on, how rotations is going on, and what's the behind the scenes force. And y'all need to stop trying to put that on dark matter and other shit like that. We talk about spiritual energy right here. Your space, your little secluded space you're in, is controlling all the vehicles that took shape and form out of that space, aka your light bodies, your chakras, and your physical flesh and forms and your constellation that's on you, that you wear as a motherfucking cloth or a light. Because this is a light body, this one is just more dense and heavy, but you wear that as a motherfucking vehicle, a spaceship, or a light. So when you hear things like angels came in all white and things of that nature, all white is like the most faintest concept without no emotional attachments to it. You see what I'm saying? So all white would be like the first lightest cloth you created for yourself, your first light, your first imagination of yourself. So when an angel came as a messenger and you see them wearing all motherfucking white, is they're coming as a form of just a frequency that ain't vibrating yet. So it's going to give you the idea for you to vibrate with that on your own emotional feelings and things of that nature. You take it into your own internal world when you receive that message. Therefore, that whiteness can start to add color, can start to add water, start to add vibration, aka that frequency start to vibrate, and then whatever message you receive can start to be experienced. So y'all don't be understanding, sir. Once you understand color spectrums and these UV rays and these lights that we're up under and what things actually are, then you'll be able to come to the conclusion on why everybody may be coming to certain conclusions. No matter how lost they are or how much they know where they at, they still coming to like the same kind of conclusion, just in a different interpretation. And me as Archangel Uriel, that's what my videos is for. Just helping y'all clearly understand where everybody getting their interpretations from. You see what I'm saying? Now, for the most part, fulfilling a void. Now, like I said, in the third dimension, this will be like a space nobody has went into yet. In the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, it's like that too. Your spirit is going into a space and location that no other spirit has been in yet. So in the third dimension, when I say is a person going into a space that no one else has been in yet, look at everybody who does things that you never seen before. People who create new things. People who do very low vibrational things, very radical things. Like people who come up on the internet by doing a bunch of stupid shit and stuff like that. Regardless of what a person is doing, they're putting their spirit in a new space. So slowly but surely it start to manifest in the third dimension as you start to see these shapes and forms play out. You start to see a new thing coming from a person, whether it's super negative to you or whether it's super positive. It's some new shit. And anytime something new, it gains a lot of attention. You know what I'm saying? It gains a lot of attention, no matter what spectrum it is. Because all our spirits is just moving into a space that it hasn't been in before. And based upon relativity and who we're relating to, and all the spaces that's next to us, aka the spirits, that's letting us know our position and how we relate to certain things, what we resonate with or not. And that all of us as spirits create the space that we're in. So it creates the rainbow waters, the vortex, our energy signatures relating to each other. And then slowly but shortly, shapes and forms curate out of these spaces. Now, based upon what shape and form came out of what space, that let you know what spirit is controlling that. And then based upon the shape and form, aka the light that come out of it, it can be used as a vessel for that spirit. And then now, since it's third dimensional wise, because we can actually see it externally, we can actually see the travel and the energy signature of that actual spirit. So we can see what kind of ideas the spirit have, what direction and path the spirit is on, how the spirit likes to look and how it likes to appear to be, and what kind of shape and form and imagination it's creating for itself to be aware of itself in whatever realm of reality it's in. So that's what y'all need to know when y'all looking at the sun and these planets. Y'all need to know that these meanings and reasonings that astrologers put behind them is actually the spirit signature that's planned that role within these shapes and forms. And these shapes and forms is just a character for us to actually see what the spirit is actually doing. Same way you. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're feeling. I don't even know you as a person until you utilize your light bodies, your vehicles, to express what's already your state of being. You see what I'm saying? So when you're around people who got a lot of negative attributes, who got a lot of negative actions, that let you know what kind of state of being that they are in. Now, 4th, 5th, and 6th dimensional wise, there's no such thing as negative and positive. But based upon relativity in the 3rd dimension, something may be negative towards you. So that'll let you know if you're higher inclined, then you know not to blame a specific person. You know that this person's spirit is just in a space, a location, a state of being, a different state that their being is in the astral realm that yours ain't. So it just play as an opposer. So in the 3rd dimension, you know how to be the wiser person and either cut this person off or obstruct your life in a way where this person don't become a problem like that. You got them in a specific idea or imagination or a box that this person can only do so much in. Therefore, based upon how much you like them or not, that's how much they're going to attain to your life. But that's only when you're spiritually inclined. If you ain't spiritually inclined, you might be just washed all over the place. You see what I'm saying? So, shit be crazy. But for the most part, you need to know fulfilling a void, it just means doing something like moving into a space that no one had moved before. Now, here's the thing. In the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, see, a lot of y'all be in spaces that's already crowded. So everything that you want to do in the 3rd dimension, 100,000 people then already tried to do that or already doing that. So you don't really got no examples of what you can do, and you think you just need to take your ability to do what they can do. And it may take you a lot longer to get from point A to point B in that realm of reality. But what you need to understand is this. See, in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, that is just everybody going into a space that's already smothered. There's already a bunch of people there. Already a bunch of spirits in that space. And these spirits already created a bunch of shapes and forms, a.k.a. light bodies, a.k.a. imaginations, ideas, and concepts within that space. So since that space will be a void, the only way you are able to see it is a.k.a. the lights that's there, a.k.a. the spirits that already created shapes and forms and spaceships in that space and location. So your only example on how to even go with that current in that rotation, how to even go with that vortex, is based upon the spirits that was already there and that already created shapes and forms as a vehicle to go into for that existence. So the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, when you go into that space, you just following lights around because you don't know how to do shit yourself. And you know lights is information. So if a spirit already there created a spaceship, created a concept, created a light body, right? Then you're only taking that information from that being in order to understand how to create your own spaceship there, come up with your own ideas. But who's to say that that being had the most efficient way? They just had the most efficient way for them. And depending on how long they was lost, they might be in the water fountain line also. So who knew how long it took for them to get from point A to point B? You got to take all these things into consideration. So what I mean by going into a void, for the most part, that's going into a space that no one else is at. So in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, here's the thing. When you go into a space that no one else is at, you start to accumulate your light bodies, aka your ideas and concepts. Therefore, the only way people understand where you at is you. You be the representation of that energy signature, of that space, of that overall concept, of that overall spirit. And you're able to play out a mini version of that overall spirit and create a mini shape and form. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, what's going on is you will receive all the benefits and the prosperity and the attributes from that space, from that location. Because remind you, no one else is in that space. So, and like I said, everybody down here basically be trying to go into other spaces that's already smothered. And I just explained how that play out in the 3rd dimension. All y'all trying to gain careers that's already a career. None of y'all trying to start your own business. You see what I'm saying? And if you are trying to start your own business, it's back to support it by a concept that's already out here. So you're trying to start your own tire business, but you're still selling tires. See what I'm saying? So the thing is this: since people are scared, they ruled by Lucifer, so they like things to be perfect, or things that's dealing with routine, or things that's dealing with forever, that never expire type of energy. then what's going on here is people's spirits are scared to move in a different space and location because they don't know how that pattern is rotating. So it's unfamiliar. So, you know what I'm saying? Your spirit will force you into circumstances that's unfamiliar to you. But once you cling on and get lost into the light, these scenarios play out as scary, as worrying, as being nervous, as things not going on to schedule because you're unaware and you're unspiritually inclined. So you're untrustworthy and you don't have no faith into yourself, aka your own person, your own spirit. So you only have trust and faith into the physical world and things that take into the pattern, even to the religious things that y'all look at. So you need to know, going into the void is you going into a space no one else is at. And once you start to put ideas, aka create vehicles to sustain yourself in that current, you be the only representation on how that space look. Because you be the light there. You be the representation of that energy signature. Because your spirit, which is no thing, moved into that space that no other spirit is at. And then since yours in that current, you're left up to yourself to come up with your own idea or concept on how to make things work. AKA build a spaceship and sustain yourself in that space and location in the astral realm. So in the third dimension, that plays out as a person creating something new. So there is no examples on what to do or what not to do. So slowly but surely, you end up becoming the example on what to do or what not to do because you're going to get a bunch of people who are paying attention to the space and location that you are in. So in the third dimension, you're going to be seen as an example on what to do or what not to do and some shit that you created. See what I'm saying? But nothing's new. And I don't even want to say under the sun no more because look, y'all under the firmament. So when they say God made y'all under the firmament, you need to know you're under the firmament. Anytime you start using your mind, everything came upside down because you was creating yourself from this way first, from the right brain to the left brain. All this space, these are right brains, and up here are left brains. You was recording your frequency vibrations and building the body from this first. So everything appeared upside down because of the spirit that y'all was following. Y'all look up to it, but since wherever it's at. Where y'all at, y'all gonna conflate that to y'all thinking that's the directional path of up. But really, it's just the spirit that y'all following. You know what I'm saying? And where it's at, if you're a fourth, fifth, or sixth dimensional being and you understand the space and location of where you at, and you understand astrology to a certain degree, then you understand the space that we're all in this body. And then once you start to understand that, now you can start to direct yourself and really astral travel without astral traveling somewhere and you don't know where you're going. You're following someone else's trail. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. You have to go see for yourself. Following someone else's trail, you're always going to have a pre-concept of where you're going. That's like you moving to a different city, but you got a family member that's telling you everything that's going on in that city. So you're not going on with your own new ideas and feelings and emotions and with your own expressions and shit and going through the right experiences for you to develop your own shit. You already coming with certain structures and shit and what to do and what not to do. So you ain't in your godly state. You in somebody else's world in that realm of reality. So you'll never become your true nature until you go through the right experiences that your spirit take you through to make you say, fuck whatever you've been told to. I'm going to just be me. And that's when people get from point A to point B the most fastest. And like, I hope people who watching me know how to put together things. Because sometimes I be feeling like I be having to put everything together for y'all. And sometimes that make a hurting of the video. You know what I'm saying? Because I be having points that generally make sense. But my spirit be getting attacked by logical and rational people that I know that, these is questions that they'll probably hit me with. So I be trying to attack everything at one time. And sometimes that hurt the video. I get brought back down to 3D. But you need to know, when they say you're under the firmament, you're under the firmament. So when y'all start to think, use too much logic and practicality and construct the realm of reality based upon the spirit that you're following, now you guys have legs to stand on. You have something to stand on, a premise to stand on, a precept to stand on. Now, once you start to build up, how we build buildings, right? From the ground up. So this is how you'll kind of build it from your soul and up, all the way to the left brain. Now here's the thing. All the legs that y'all stand on and the grounding that y'all stand on as far as the precept, that's the ground y'all on also. So when they say the firmament, when you create a firmament, that's you thinking too hard, or you have analyzing and or using too much practicality or making sense out of too much rationality, right? So you create a firmament, a blockage from any other idea to come into your mind, so that's a blockage. So can't no rainbow waters come in, can't no overall imagination come in, because you created a hard firmament. And the more freaking, I don't want to say conviction, but the more mentally hardened you are to the point that you become super stubborn, the more that's the more the firmament. No new ideas, no new imagination. Can't nothing come to you. Can't no spirit come to you. None of that shit. And things of that nature. And only a demon can come to you only through material. It can't even really affect you like that. You might end up being a rock in another life. But look, check this out, right? Now, once we had a collective that did that, we constructed a glass floor or a firmament or something to stand on to separate from the waters. So when you think you're on a firmament, y'all think y'all looking up. No, that's down. So the firmament is up underneath. You see what I'm saying? So it's way, y'all, I don't want to even say down. That's up. You know what I'm saying? That's up. So you could, and we start to look up once we start to get into the winter season and our chakra wheel that we on spin. But for the most part, that's up. So when they say y'all underneath the firmament, and then y'all get all these concepts of all these deities rising from the dead and things of that nature, because it's showing y'all that these things came from where you at. So when y'all think something is rising, no, that's something at its lowest state. And what y'all think is setting, that's something rising. So when something is rising to y'all, no, it's in the place, in the realm of reality that you at. And you think it's a little higher. No, it's just a little lower than you, because it's a greater shape and form. This is what you need to understand, right? When we're looking at the zero realm, right? The fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, right? Every dimension has a negative and positive shift to it. And I'm not talking about like electromagnetic shift. I'm talking about like direction, space, and location. So you have a right side, you have a left side. Now these are energy signatures. So for the most part, like, here's what you need to understand. Say you got your space in a zero. That's why you created your solar plexus first and all that shit to start to create all the other things in your vortex in general, right? Then you got negative. So then you got negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. Boom. Then you have plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4. You see what I'm saying? Now here's the thing. Now you always in your center space. So you live within a being that got its own center space. So I told y'all the being that y'all following made y'all look up to it, whatever like that. So for the most part, boom. If you in the third dimension, right, you have the octave energy signature also. There's a low vibrational negative side to the third dimension and a positive side to the third dimension. This is what we'll look at as the art of deduction and the art of adding. Now, for the most part, I told y'all with the realm y'all are in, y'all are flipped. So since the realm that's outside of you is fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, like, see, y'all be looking at dimensions like levels. Look at it like a ball within a ball within a ball within a ball, or a box within a box within a box. So if this is the third dimension, the box outside of this box will be the fourth dimension. So you start seeing things in 720, you know what I'm saying, all the way up till you get to 1080. Then that box is in another box. You see what I'm saying? So you have to keep this in mind when we're talking about circumstances and situations of dimensions and frequency vibrations. So that's why you got space within space, water bubbles within water bubbles. You know what I'm saying? So a frequency thing is not a level. So it's not a level like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a within thing. So since you're within the third dimension, the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension is the body outside of that circle you in. So it's the circle outside of that circle, the box outside of that box. So you have this portion of the box and this portion of the box. So this is what I'm trying to tell y'all. When y'all look up, y'all looking down. But there's no such thing as up and down in fourth, fifth, or sixth dimension. So since you're looking at it within realms, right? When you look up, you see the shapes and forms getting greater, getting heavier. So that's things being added. So when you add emotions and feelings, right? The shape and form that you're adding emotions and water in expands and get bigger. So when you're looking down, you're looking more down into the being that we are in. So the more you tap into your emotions and feelings and get emotionally attached to the shapes and forms of the realm of reality that you are in, it's like you're bringing yourself down. So y'all have been led by a spirit to make y'all think that's going up. You know what I'm saying? So you think the more you gain responsibility or the more you can obtain and be praised or whatever like that, you become a greater shape and form. But that's really right. You die from the lighter blood cell and become a bigger organ. So your spirit leaves that one, and since it had more experiences, aka more trial and tribulation, more responsibilities or whatever like that, it died from that and then take a heavier one. And we know what's more heavy goes down. So this is what y'all need to understand. Y'all have been led by a spirit that's making y'all go down, thinking y'all going up. You know what I'm saying? That's y'all Jesus figures, all these figures. You need to really clearly understand that, right? But it's like right here is like almost like the seed, because what you're standing on is the firmament, and you're under the firmament. So if y'all thinking you under the firmament and the firmament is up here, no, this is the wall, this is the firmament, and you on top of it, right? But here's the thing, y'all upside down. So the firmament is under y'all and way up. You see what I'm saying? And y'all just standing up here thinking y'all standing up right, being led by a spirit that continually go down. They became Venus. Then the spirit became Saturn. Then it became, you know what I'm saying, now the 10th house at the lowest part of the space. Y'all call this the highest part of y'all space and shit like that. Then y'all, it's like, it's fucked up. But in reality, it's ascending. But to y'all think y'all ascending by following it down. And y'all not knowing when these planets are setting, what y'all think is setting, that's really them going up past y'all thinking and y'all practicality, y'all air and earth, y'all left brainness. And it's going past that and it's going where it's trying to go. You see what I'm saying? Basically where everything is actually, well, I don't think shit is even trying. I think everything is trying to go down. And y'all whole concept of how y'all think is going down. Even when y'all think y'all righteous, y'all version of righteous is reversed. Being too righteous is going down. Y'all motherfuckers is fucked up here. But fulfilling a void means you going into a space that nobody else has been. And then you end up being a representation of that space. You end up being a starlight, the moonlight, the sunlight from that space. So now that space got attention towards it, it has a spotlight towards it. And since it's a space that nobody never been in, your spirit is always going into a space that it never been in before. This is why you can have something and get tired of it, because your spirit want to go into a space that's unfamiliar. So y'all in so many layers that what might appear to be unfamiliar to y'all still be familiar to people like me, like an Archangel Uriel, 4th, 5th, and 6th dimensional beings out here in my soul group. That shit still be familiar, but for the most part, it might just be a little lighter of an experience for you, that it might not seem that familiar based upon how lost you are. But here's the thing, right? You know how much attention you're going to receive by being the representation of a space nobody never been in before, or a space nobody seen. And if that's a space people been too blind based upon other spaces and being smothered, no one is even paying attention to that space until you went into that space and started shining and became a shape and form in there and went into that shape and form as a vehicle, as your spirit. Now everybody looking at that space, you automatically gonna get a whole bunch of attention, and all that attention brings into density. Now whatever you vortexing in that world, you can create all kind of shapes and forms out of that shit. All kind of shapes and forms out of that shit that everybody be wanting to create in the realm that we are in as a collective. You know what I'm saying? But you'll have extra access just because you went into a space that nobody else has been. So keep this in mind. You know what I'm saying? Don't be chasing spaces and locations. Don't be following other people just because they work somewhere. Don't be following other people just because they did something. Don't be following other people just because they successful at a specific thing. Go into a space nobody's never been before. Even if you have to go into some of these spaces that everybody else is smothered in, and go find a closet there, go find a corner there, go find a basement there, go find an attic there, go find a space within that building that nobody never been in before. Therefore, you will be a person everybody looking at in that building. Like, so it don't even matter. You need to know it's a spiritual energy signature that we're all participating in that has nothing to do with the third dimensional realm, but it plays out in the same way that everybody is doing, but people get lost into their own way of doing it. And you have certain spirits who's greater than other spirits, so a lot of the other spirits like to follow the other spirits that may have been in spaces before the other spirit. So a lot of times they look at the spirit that been in that space before them other spirits as law. So if that spirit have took a shape and form and died from your realm of reality and have ascended or descended somewhere else, y'all still look at that as law because you may be still spiritually weak and lost. You know what I'm saying? But I'm motherfucking here. You know what I'm saying? My motherfucking soul group, we astral travel freely. We don't give a fuck about no motherfucking Galactic Federation of Light. And if they even decide to think they're gonna pull a motherfucking over, they shit gonna crash. They're gonna look into the spaceship mirror like, oh shit, my bad. I ain't know you was driving this spaceship today. My bad. Say, get the fuck out my face. Flight bus, bitch. Goddamn air.